Well, they did have a popcorn bucket at my theater for this one.
Just a reminder that, we got one original idea so far this year that was a big hit, and we're like, ooh, maybe it was Sinners, and it's like, ooh, maybe things are turning around. And then Elio Bombs doesn't even get a popcorn bucket, and it's like, well, here's M3GAN 2, back to garbage. They should have called it that. M3GAN 2, back to garbage.
The popcorn bucket for it was really cool.
Was it like the space dancer thing or whatever? That was what I saw walking in.
Over at the AMC, it was like her, but you removed the face and there was like a robotic face under it or something.
Oh, that's
like
actually
that.
pretty cool. All right.
It was also $50, so that's why I don't have it. Yeah, that's why I don't have it sitting here with me right now. It's like
$50.
Keep in mind, I
Good
bought a Madam Web bucket, and like this, I'm like,
Yeah, but was the Madam Web bucket $50? Because that's probably the most that movie made.
If it was, I probably still would have gotten it. It was a giant bucket. I use it. It's very, very good for storage. It's still sitting there in my office.
Well, that movie was good for some.
So yeah, both of us liked the first one, right?
Yeah, I liked it a great deal. For what it was.
Yeah.
It was definitely campy and self-aware, but it acted like it wasn't, and that's why I felt it worked. And the Uncanny Valley was hilarious in it, and I think it knew that. I had a great time with it.
It was a nice surprise, the first one, and having liked the first one, when I saw the trailer for this, I was, and again, having liked the first one, when I saw the trailer for the second one, I was like, I think they want to do like a Gremlins 2 thing with this, but it's reading more like RoboCop 3 if it were in the Venom universe. Like,
yeah, my comparison was that I said it's like it went from the first Fast and Furious movie to Fast and Furious 9.
Oh.
You know, like, you can go this crazy, especially in a horror film, but I feel like you can't just jump straight to it in the second one, unless you do it very carefully or very, in a very smart way. Like Gremlins 2 was a satire of the first one. It's technically a sequel, but was a satire. Or Evil Dead 2. You know, I feel like if you went from Evil Dead to Army of Darkness, that way you need that Evil 2 in the middle there. And even then, some people say, Army of Darkness. I mean, that's a pretty popular film, but some people say, when they're watching those movies back to back, they get to Army of Darkness, they're like, whoa, this really went off the rails. But that's part of the fun. Where this one made such a leap that I'm like you. I was looking at the trailer just like, all right, I like the campiness of the first one. This does not look like my kind of camp.
And then, so I thought the movie was a little better than I thought it was going to be, but I still didn't think it was that great.
I was saying there's about 30% of a decent good sequel in here. And there's 70% of just schlock. And it seems to know it, and I feel like it might find its fan base that appreciates that. So. I don't know if this film's going to be a big hit or anything. If I had to guess, I'd say probably not, but I can feel like it's a film that's definitely going to find that audience that's like, did you see what the sequel did? Did you see you remember the first one? Like, did you see what they do in the second? She's like flying through the mountains and stuff like that. She's wearing like laser tag stuff and fighting another robot. It's a James Bond movie in the last third and everything, and it'll find that audience. And honestly, in a strange way, I am open to that. I just feel like the core of it should still, at this point in the second one, should still be a horror film. If you're not going to be a horror film, be a satire. And the first film is already a little bit of a satire of itself and just the idea of, how far technology is going and everything. And this one definitely does some fun stuff with where technology is going. Maybe a little, it's weird, it's both too direct and not direct enough sometimes, because it really dives into AI as, AI is kind of the new boogeyman and in movies, and rightfully so. I think in a lot of respects it is a scary thing. This film, I feel like in a goofy way, and then sometimes a serious way, tries to look at things that can be beneficial, but obviously looks at the dangers of it. But then when you get into like the villain's plan, which it's pretty easy to figure out who the villain is in this. It didn't take me too long. But especially when they got rid of the other villain, they have an Elon Musk evil Charles Xavier prototype in this, and he was pretty fun. I was having a good time with just how silly he was and everything, but he's not in the film long, and now I'm like, well, okay, I know who the mastermind is when we get to that. But the angle that character takes, I don't want to say directly goes against what the rest of the film is saying necessarily, but you do kind of go, well, wait, where does this film stand? And then at the end, it just pretty much looks right at the camera and tells you exactly what its message is and everything. And it's like, well, all right. And if that's all the film was, maybe that be something, but it's also trying to be a horror film. It's trying to be an action film. It's trying to be campy. It's trying to be funny. It's trying to be over the top. It's trying to be sometimes subtle. It's trying to have good effects. It's trying to have bad effects. It's trying to do so much. And in my opinion, when this movie was a horror film, which is about 25% of the time, I was liking it. And there's elements in here where I go, man, if they just stuck to that, this would be a good sequel. Save the other stuff for when they get crazier. Because there's, early on, they have a thing where M3GAN can control certain things in the house. That's a movie.
That was a really good scene.
That's a movie. Her chasing this other robot who I thought was acted very well. I to a point where there are times where I said, is she CG sometimes? And it took me a bit, but no, it's not. That's just the performance. And I'm sure a little bit of makeup and stuff like that. And the little argument, it's not long, but the little argument they have at the end, the two AIs arguing about how much control AI should have, that's a movie.
Yeah.
There's so many things in here where I'm like, man, there's a scene where where M3GAN makes another body for herself just out of what she can find. It's like a bug in her. And she has like a little bunker that she made behind the house and stuff. That's a movie. Like, so many of these things, I'm like, man, this could fill a film. And instead they just cram all of it like they thought this is the only sequel they're going to have. And depending on how this does, maybe it will be the only one because they try to cram too much into it, though.
My screening was really crowded.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It
Did
was.
people seem to get into it?
They did, actually. I am pretty much with you on it, because at the beginning of it, I was actually into it. I was like, okay, this kind of genre shift that it's doing here, from horror comedy to action comedy, I actually was kind of going along with it at first. I thought that it integrated what happened in the first one with this AI technology fear plot, but done in the style of an action movie and like a Mission Impossible movie. At first, I thought it made that seg okay enough, or at least not as jarring as I thought it would be.
It still kept horror element. Like, as soon as it starts, it's like, on the border of like Iran and Turkey, and so it shows like this nuclear facility and stuff like that, and they play the action music. I already started snickering, like, oh, okay, tonal change. But then when, not a big spoiler, but there's another robot in this, and she's in that scene, and when she's supposed to be crawling against the wall, and I feel like there's an action way you can do it, and there's a horror way you can do it. They do the horror way, where she moves almost like a stop-motion creature. So I'm like, all right, even in this setup, I'm assuming it's PG-13, they're keeping sort of these horror angles in there, and I'm kind of like, I was with you, I'm like, maybe this can work, and whenever it dabbled into that, I did feel like it was working quite a bit.
That scene that you were talking about, where M3GAN was controlling all of the AI that's in the house, and it was, that was hot. When she was
hot it burned it out.
When she was controlling everything in the house, everything from the ice machine to the lights to the Alexa and stuff like that. That was probably the best scene in the movie.
See, I like the scene following it because that went a little Home Alone-ish for me.
Oh, I can
like,
see that.
and,
Yeah,
and this isn't one of those movies where it's like, yeah, there's technically a body count, but then there's also people who are, I'm like, you should be dead. There's literally a guy who gets impaled with a pole, and it's like, he'll live. No, he won't.
Yeah.
Nobody can live through that.
And I'm with you about that first villain that it set up was way better than the one that we got later.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not a shock.
Yeah.
Like, even regardless of what happened to the guy at the beginning, nothing about that was a shock in any way, shape, or form. As soon as this other guy pops up, him I thought was kind of boring. The other guy at the beginning, I thought was a lot more, I was having a lot more fun with that character. And so with this movie, you know, like I said, I was riding with it for a bit. There were some laughs I was getting out of it. They do some like Steven Seagal shout outs that I got a kick out of.
Which I agree, but so the kid is the fan of Steven Seagal movie to a point where she has like a poster in her locker.
Yeah.
And maybe I just feel like a Steven Seagal fan would be more interesting. I thought
Okay.
the kid was pretty boring.
Thank you. Oh my, I was about to say that is the only thing I liked about this character in it, was that she likes Steven Seagal.
And I don't remember her being bad in the first movie,
Neither
but
do I.
she is dull in this.
Dude.
I made the argument that Allison Williams, at least in the first one, was purposefully dull because she's not supposed to be. She's too much into the technology and making this stuff. And if that's kind of the thing, like, she does feel like someone, yeah, I'll make a robot girl. That'll fix that'll help me at work, and it'll also help my child I'm supposed to. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like a person who would make this thing. And by this film, it's like, she was a little flat, but I guess I was buying it enough. But yeah, the daughter I thought was just really, really flat.
Oh my god, every time she was on screen, it just brought the energy of the whole movie down.
Yeah.
After a while, I was even feeling that way about the villain towards the end, but especially the Katie character. The only thing I liked about her in this, she's got an above the law poster in her, in her locker. But with Allison Williams, I thought she was good. The only thing that was... This is when the movie kind of started losing me a bit. You know, early on, I was liking that it wasn't as much viral exploitation as the trailer looked, except for a couple of times, and they were my least favorite scenes in the movie.
And actually, there were a few moments where, after it ended, I'm like, oh, I thought I remember seeing that in the trailer. That wasn't in there. That wasn't in there. And then it'll be like, oh, well, like the dance she does for the teaser or whatever, that's just in the end credits, you know? So it's one of those things where I'm just sort of like, oh, well, all right, honestly, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I noticed that too, where there was a couple things I noticed that weren't, I didn't see the, like, mid-credit scene, but, that when she does dance in it, and then when the movie stops so she can sing a song, I was sitting there like, this movie is already a half hour too long. It's like, and it feels it. That's when it, for me, when I started really feeling it, when the scenes started getting really repetitive. And with Allison Williams, the only thing that was kind of driving me nuts about her character is there is a lot of scenes in this movie where characters are pitching a plan, going through a plan. She is always, no, I don't want to do this. No, we shouldn't do that. No, blah, 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 or vice versa. And then it's the same conversation that happens a lot in this film, right down to... There's a problem with the dialogue here. There was also a problem in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which was also about AI, where there's a lot of sequences in this where they're going through all of these plans, and then they have someone say, so what you're saying is...
Well, because there is so much exposition and technobabble at the same time, and there is a ton of it in this. And to that little actress's credit, the one who plays the kid, she has to say like half of it. And whenever
Yeah.
she's, so I think we should go to blah, blah, blah. We should blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it just looks like she's trying to remember her lines. And it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of don't blame her. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, this
same.
is just half the dialogue
Yeah.
is this. When it got to the final chunk, the last third of the movie, which is by far the most boring, in my opinion, that
I
should be when
agree.
it's the most entertaining.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember what the plan was, or plans,
Yeah.
plural. And at some point I'm like, well, I don't think I'm supposed to care anyway, so I guess I'll just try to be entertained by everything else. And most of it wasn't that entertaining. Once in a while there's a neat little thing, like there's these robot appendages that, can move a person around,
Oh,
and
yeah.
a person fights while they're knocked out,
Yeah.
like that's cute. Maybe one or two action sequences, but yeah, not much in the last third.
No.
It's pretty boring.
I agree, and you'll get a much better experience out of just watching Upgrade again. Honestly,
yeah.
like, no, the last act of this is really, really action heavy. But you're right. There's a lot of scenes that are repetitive. There's a lot of scenes that go on too long. A lot of action scenes that go on too long, and I just lost so much interest that when it gets to this last act, the last third of the movie, because like I said, the first half I was riding along with it. I was, and it just slowly was reaching this point where, for all the reasons I said, and then it gets to that last third, and I was sitting there through this action, through this spectacle, just bored, just kind of checking my phone, and there's a lot of action going on, but
Part of it too is that, a lot of the stuff I think we were kind of dreading, like a lot of the neons, that when she gets in the whatever that with the Japanese girl dancer outfit, whatever the
Yeah.
techno-tron thing, whatever, I was like, oh no. And there are quite a few oh no moments with that. But when she has to confront the other robot, which sometimes this movie is commentary, I don't even think it's aware how smart it is. The fact that the robot sneaks into an AI convention. Well, AI conventions are already kind of funny, but sneaks in dressed as a robot. So it's a robot dressed as a human, dressed as a robot. That's pretty, and it's about AI. That's really funny.
Yeah.
And then when they have to do this little battle in this weird room that has these weird neon lights, and the other robot is very reflective, and you can see, like, in the mask that she's wearing, like, the hallway, and you can see M3GAN there too, and she kind of looks like, the robot lady from Metropolis and stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
boy, visually, this is just keeping my interest. Like, these two robots just talking to each other, these two AIs talking to each other in this weird visual setup is very interesting, even though it's ridiculous. And in the last third, when you get to this place that, like I said, looks either like out of a James Bond movie or like a boring X-Men movie or something like that, it's just like a dull-looking power plant that's like half metal, half rock that we've seen a million times. It's not well lit. There's
Yeah.
not many interesting shots you can get there.
yeah.
So just even on a visual level, it's not very engaging.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's the same. It's the same location that I'm pretty sure is in most Sony Marvel movies. But I would go back to the very beginning of this. Madam Web's still much more entertaining than this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I will give,
A better grade of Madam
Yeah.
Web, but yeah.
because at least that, if you're going to go ahead and be bad, make it something that I'll want to watch again.
Yeah.
Don't make it something where it just wears out its welcome so much that my leg's tapping, my foot's tapping. I'm really not getting that many laughs out of it. The laughs that I had were in the first half, like when the Knight Rider theme kicked in, and that I forget when they're in their lair and she dumps all the clothes on the dude. Like, I kind of got a laugh out of that.
See, that's so funny. I thought that was one of the dumber moments.
Oh, did
It's
you?
like, wow, I just want to see Disney Channel and the bottom
Yeah.
logo there.
I think I was the only one in the theater who kind of laughed about that, but I was the only one in the theater who didn't laugh at the song.
So when she started, I got a little bit of a laugh because it was a callback to the first one where that's what she did to the kid. And it's like, oh, this is kind of probably all she knows. But then it keeps going.
Yeah.
She does like half the song. And that was fascinating to me. Like, you're right, that felt like a moment where it's like, we're gonna go viral,
Yeah.
you know, with this. And yeah, there are moments where I did laugh. There's other moments where I can tell they were trying to. As soon as those two scientists survived the last movie, weren't you like, oh shit, they're gonna be in the next one? And they are, and they're not very funny. I mean, to credit, the lady, I don't think is supposed to be that funny, but the guy totally is, and he did not make me laugh that much. The one wearing like the weird sunglasses and stuff at the party and the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, who got the clothes dumped on him and everything. Him, I can't see, he wasn't annoying me. I didn't necessarily laugh at a lot of his jokes.
It was annoying me.
Yeah, me, I didn't have that reaction, but it's funny you mentioned that because I missed that the song was a callback to the first movie, but really no fault of the first movie at all. It's just I haven't seen it since it came out, so there's kind of little things I forgot. So when the co-scientists showed up, I had actually forgot
they were even from the last one.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I picked up quick. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, from the other one. I can't even, since I had kind of forgotten about them, I can't even remember what my reaction was to them in the first one, honestly.
They weren't awful, but you could tell they were supposed to die in a certain scene, and then just at the very end, like, one of them shows up, and it's like, where's the other one? Oh, he's fine, he's at home, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. You know they were supposed to die originally. I will say, too, but just going back to the horror element, which does make it I feel bad giving this movie a bad review, because there are some moments where I'm like, boy, that was really funny and really creepy. Of course, we talked about making the other body for herself, but the artificial limbs that they make. There's one scene where somebody's controlling them, and just somebody hears it, just hello comes out, and just one of them is just choking a woman, and it's a quiet scene. She just comes around a corner and sees that, and it is both really disturbing and goddamn hilarious at seeing this thing.
Yeah.
The woman. And I just, there are some moments where I was legit like, boy, this is legit really disturbing, but really funny, and feels genuine. Feels like you don't know which one it's going for. When that makeshift M3GAN is talking to the kid again, it just looks like if you took a Chuck E. Cheese animatronics face off, or the popcorn bucket, it looked like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to have a sentimental heart-to-heart scene where they're really talking about stuff, but it is just this nightmarish thing. It is both so disturbing, so funny, but I'm really listening to what they're saying, too. Yeah. There's a genuineness to it. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be manipulative, or like you said, like, be like a meme or something like that. And those are the moments that work the best, and to some extent, those are the moments that work the best in the first one, too. I know there's scenes of her, like, I mean, the one scene of her dancing, really, which just, the movie's already so crazy. Like, I wouldn't watch that and be like, well, this was made to be a meme or something like that. It's like, no, this movie's crazy enough. I could just see this robot riding her high and then just doing this crazy little dance before she kills someone. I went
along with it.
Yeah, totally. Where it feels like this one, like they just kept wanting to top that.
Yeah.
And to its credit, based on the trailers, it never quite went, and this is so weird to say, it never went as crazy as I thought it was gonna go. And I shouldn't say, it never went beyond the crazy I thought it was going to.
I agree.
It matched it at some points, but it never went crazier. And usually when you see a trailer like that, it's like, oh, we're not even showing you the craziest thing, and it's like, nah, they kind of did. So I give it credit for that, but weirdly, that sometimes makes it more boring, because they're trying to just smash in so much stuff. And I feel like they should have just stuck to the horror elements, and just fewer elements in general.
Or give it another trim. Give it another edit. Like, because really, like, I mean, I could sit there and look at scenes where it's like, this could be trimmed hard, that could be trimmed hard. Even that would make it, I would have been less bored by the time maybe still a little bit. I don't know what I would have done, but I do know it would have marginally made things a little better if the pacing was a little tighter, considering how much is going on in this. But there are a lot of unnecessarily repetitive and long scenes in it. And as far as a grade goes, the movie's a mixed bag. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think that there's I was in the first half of it, you know, I was kind of riding like a B, and then it started getting into a B minus around the song. And then after that, I was just falling out of it more and more and more to where I'm kind of ending up with a C plus. Because there was a number of things that I liked early on in it, that I thought were cool and like kind of impressive. Maybe that's a little generous. Maybe I should go down to a C.
Well, I'll go down even lower. I'll go C minus.
Okay.
I'll say the first chunk, the first half, I was still like, this is still not working for me. But I will admit, I'm almost at a recommendation, like,
yeah,
and then as it kept going, I'm like, in my review, I gave it like 2 out of 4, and for the first half, I was around like a 2.5, like, like I'm almost recommending it, but not much. And then as it just kept going and going, and like I say, it's not even that it got crazier; it's that it got boring.
Yeah,
and that is such a weird thing for this movie to have so much stuff going on that's so and so bonkers and trying to top itself. It's so weird that that's what it ends up being.
You know what was going through my head when I finally had the thought of, I just really can't recommend this, at least for like a theatrical ticket. It was because there was a bit where I'm like, I'm writing kind of a marginal recommendation. And then when I just started getting bored with it, I thought back to, and this is a movie I love too, but I thought back to Siskel and Ebert reviewing Broken Arrow, where Siskel just goes, because at first he gives it a thumbs up, and then
it's like the only time he changes vote in the middle of the review.
And he goes, "What am I really recommending here?" And I love. And Broken Arrow is a movie I love, but like in this one, I had that point where it was like, what am I really recommending here?
Yeah, especially to see on the big screen.
To see it on the big screen.
It's not real. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a big screen movie. No.
I mean, it's there's theatrical set.
Yeah, no, it's appealing enough to look at, but nothing demands to be seen on the big screen, kind of thing. For me, I'm just like, if you're gonna watch it, well, who knows, you might like it better than I did, but if you're gonna watch it, I would suggest just waiting to watch it at home, honestly. If you want the big screen experience, like a cheap seat, I wouldn't do it, but like I did it because there weren't many people. I saw pretty early shows, there weren't that many people, but I did see 2 women walk out at the last third, and they're walking out. I heard one just say, "It's not scary at all."
Oh.
And I'm just like, lady, did you see the trailer?
Yeah.
I mean, did you think she's flying around a flying squirrel suit? I mean, what did you think you were gonna get? That looks terrifying. She can fly now. They fly now.
What do we have next week? Or what is out next week?
I don't know. It's something. Fantastic Four, maybe?
Oh, is that next week?
Maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's 4th of July, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It sounds like it'd be Fantastic Four, but I could be wrong.
We'll be it. You come see us at Planet Funk.
Yes, that's right.
And in Davenport, Iowa. I love putting these like little dated plugs in the video.
Yeah, years later, it's just like, oh, I better go. Oh, that was 5 years ago.
Oh man, when I pieced together a compilation, I can't remember which one it was for. It might have been for the Porky series or something, and I pieced together a compilation. And when I went to put the commercial breaks in there, one of them was for a con we were at like 2 years ago. So I'm like, I gotta work on like being choosy with the ads and videos that'll end up becoming a compilation, or just remember to chop that part out.
That's pretty funny.
But well, maybe next week will be Fantastic Four.
Yeah, whatever it is, we'll be there.
Yeah. Take care. See you guys.